What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Wrestlemania X7 or Wrestlemania 17. As you can probably tell, at the end of my last recording, I told you that I felt I was getting congested. I thought I might be getting sick. As you can tell, I was right. But the show must go on. My allergies are kicking in, I think, because of the changes in temperature. It's going from like 30s to 70s back to 40s, and it's just the flips in temperature are messing with me a little bit, so I've been taking some Zyrtec here, taking some Dayquil. I should hopefully kick this in the next couple of days, but unfortunately, fortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, but fortunately the show must go on, and so therefore I shall move forward with the next of our 39 WrestleManias in 39 days. As you can tell, we are finally back to, we've ditched numbers, at least. Haven't gone fully back to Roman numerals yet. We're on X7, which is a wonderful way to twist that. As you can see on the side there, we have Rob's ratings on the side there. We also have everything labeled here from 10 to 0, with a 10 being an A, 10 and 9, B being an 8 or 7, 6, 5, 4 being a C, 3 to 2 being a D, 1 to 0 being an F. We have a pretty stacked card here. One of the little match cards I had to actually dig up myself. We'll get to that one in a little bit. This one took place April 1st of 2001 in Houston in the Astrodome. And we are going to start off with Chris Jericho versus William Regal for the Intercontinental title, which Jericho would end up winning. It was a very fun opener. Very quick pace. Both looked very fluid. Great chemistry. The story was fresh and hot, with William Regal being the commissioner and Jericho kind of spiting him a little bit there. So the story was really good. Submission reverses were fun. It's something Jericho excels at, is a submission reversal, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, and just how good Jericho is at taking a move and turning it into a submission, or taking a submission and flipping it into his own, or getting out of a submission through a really creative process. Jericho, back in this day, was really fucking good at that. I've always been a fan of Jericho pre-whatever happened to him after he left WWE, or pre-whatever happened before the turn of the decade. I'm not crazy about his 2010 to 2020 run, and I'm obviously not very crazy about what he does now. But back in the day, man, Chris Jericho was prime. He was excellent. He was fantastic. I really felt like the only knock to this match that I really have here is that it's very short. They did not give this much time, but it is an opener. And also, the finish just felt rushed. It felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, there was no setup, no drama, no build, just bam, match done. Like, the initial move to set up the Lion Salt wasn't impactful. Really did come out of nowhere. I didn't really hate the match outside of that. I gave the match a 7 out of 10. Rob gave it a B, which is also going to be a 7 out of 10, so that's where it's going to go. 7 out of 10. Great opener. Next, we have a 3-on-3 match between Taz and the APA versus the Right to Censor, which is Bull Buchanan, the Good Father, who used to be the Godfather, and Val Venus. Taz and the APA would go on to win this match. How nice of them. Perfectly honest with you, how nice of them to put all the meh wrestlers on one team. Bull Buchanan has like all 2 moves. Val Venus doesn't really even have that, and the Good Father is kind of not in the best gimmick for him. It's a very limiting gimmick. He kind of loses a lot of his luster, a lot of his charisma that he had as the Godfather and before. They sure did look very meh. I thought Taz and the APA sold like hell and looked amazing on offense. I'll give Right to Censor some credit as the double team powerbomb on the JBL. That looked amazing, but outside of the usual Buchanan top rope kick, which is basically his only move that he has, this match was pretty much it. It was just all about getting Taz and the APA over. Taz had recently, I believe he had recently come up to the WWE at this point from TNA in Japan, so yeah, honestly, I gave this match a 5 out of 10, very middle of the road. Rob, ironically, we're on the same page right now. Rob also gave this a 5 out of 10, so we are trending exactly even so far. Next up, we have Kane versus Big Show versus Raven, who is the current champion, the hardcore champion. Kane ended up winning this match. And I've said it before, when you put a weapon in Kane's hand, this man is a much more dangerous human being than he is without one. I always felt like Kane was very slow and clunky, but it kind of works for a hardcore setting. He's a very aggressive guy, which again, works great for a hardcore setting. This match was an extremely chaotic affair. I normally don't like backstage brawl stuff too much. I feel like they get very stretched out, very messy, very kind of ugly to a degree. But this match was just absolutely insane from start to finish. You had Kane and Big Show and Raven basically remodeling the Astrodome for free. You had Raven thrown through windows. Kane was put through a door. Big Show was put through a wall. It was an insane back and forth amongst these three. Kane and Big Show got in a cart and ran over Maven, just like flat out ran him over with that cart. I'm shocked he didn't tear something. Destroying chain walls. The finish was intense. I'll disband my disbelief and pretend the camera didn't make it obvious that Kane missed everyone with his leg drop. I will appreciate the spectacle of it, and I gave this match an 8, which is pretty crazy because I've been pretty historically critical on hardcore matches so far, but this match was great. I gave it an 8. Rob, again, agrees. He gave it a B. Regardless whether that's a 7 or an 8, the worst is going to average out to a 7.5, so it's going to get bumped up to an 8. So yeah, so far, me and Rob are still on about the same page, and this WrestleMania is stacking up to be exactly as good as everyone says it is. WrestleMania 17 is a lot of people's favorite WrestleManias for a reason, because almost every single match on this card has either a great story, a great build, or a great execution. And we're going to continue that trend with our next match. And that is, actually, I take it back. We're going to buck the trend with this next match, at least for me. And that is Eddie Guerrero with Perry Saturn versus Test for the European title. Eddie wins by bashing Test with the title. I felt that this match was great at building both wrestlers as their best angles. Test being a dominant big guy with a limited but powerful moveset. Eddie as the slick, cheating, and stealing speed guy with sneaky power. Again, it's really all Test is good at. I did like seeing Test in a single match. Not a tag match where he can rely on someone else. He actually has to help carry this match. And I thought he did okay. It is still a test match at the end of the day, so it's nothing remarkable. It's nothing great. But it is an Eddie Guerrero match, and those are always great and always excellent. Unfortunately, the two balance themselves out here. I ended up giving this match a C. The ankle... there is a section of the match where Test's ankle gets caught on the rope. They botched it. They couldn't get it undone. Eddie had to fix it and then go back on the attack, and it just made it... I hate to say it broke my immersion when I just talked about disbanding my disbelief at Kane's leg drop, but it really hurt my immersion, and it kind of hurt this match as a whole for me. Yeah, ending was typical Guerrero. Cheating is fun when Eddie does it. That's basically the gist of this whole entire match here is it's fun when Eddie cheats. That's just kind of how it is. I don't know what it is about it. If he's the only wrestler I love seeing cheat to win overall. I gave this match a 5 out of 10. Rob gave this match a B. He was obviously much more happy with this match than I was. So that's going to average out to a 6. A high C+. Congratulations, you two. Exceeding expectations. Next up, we have Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit, and what a fucking match this became. The beginning segment showcased both wrestlers' excellence in amateur wrestling. They had a lot of chain wrestling going on, over the top, sliding over, buckling down, dropping down, putting in chokeholds, rest holds. They're both excellent at it, and they both showcased that to a high degree to start this match off. I thought it was a great back and forth. It's not always my thing per se, but I respect the importance of that angle. I thought the angle punches, so basically they're doing these chain wrestlings and they're doing this sort of respectful amateur wrestling move, and then the match kind of flips on its head when Angle decides to throw all that out and just sucker punch Chris Benoit. Like the ref's separating him and he punches Benoit around the ref, and it sets off the match that we would expect. High power moves, hellacious spots is how I put it here. Benoit took a throw into the stairs square on his back in the loudest impact that I have ever seen. I mean, it sounded like a gun went off in the Astrodome, the way his back connected with those stairs. It was gnarly sounding. I'm shocked he didn't get fucked up. Angle showed extreme desperation and avoiding the crossface. Benoit showed the same level to avoid the angle lock, which I thought was a great touch. The near falls at the end were great. The false finish with the ref down, showing Angle tapping but not counting, was typical for heels. But it also kind of showed, like, the story of this match was that Angle had never tapped out, and that Chris Benoit could not get him to do it. He did. It doesn't count because the ref didn't see it. So I thought that story element was really important for this match, and it also kind of helped sell the finish. Of course, Kurt Angle does end up winning this match. I thought this match was exciting. I thought this match was a great back and forth. I thought this match was a great demonstration of what these two were capable of, which is what we didn't see when you had Chris Jericho in the mix before, with those 2 out of 3, those 2 pinfall matches before for both the European Intercontinental titles. You didn't see those. I enjoyed this match enough to give it a solid 8 out of 10. I fully agree with Dave Meltzer, which is weird because I'm very hypercritical of Dave Meltzer, but he gave this match a 4.25 out of 5. 4.25 stars. I completely agree with him. I think this match was an 8 out of 10. Rob gave us a B+. That's actually going to keep it at that 8 out of 10, which is the same spot that I gave it. So yeah, 8 out of 10. This has been a sea of bangers so far. But now we're going to get to a match that me and Rob don't necessarily agree on. Now, neither one of us think this match is good. He gave his match an F. I gave it a 4. Allow me to explain. This is China versus Ivory, who's also in Right to Censor, for the WWF Women's title. China ends up winning it. This match was extremely important story-wise. In K-Fob, Ivory basically took China out, was basically parading around the fact that she took China out. This was a bona fide squash match for China. Insanely satisfying story. A rare time where I actually appreciate and enjoy a squash match. As you guys know, in these reviews, I have been historically critical of squash matches. This one needed to happen. It needed to be a dominating China victory in order for it to work, and that's what we got. A dominating China victory, a beautiful full circle moment for this story. Excellent conclusion. However, it is still a squash match. So I gave this match a 4. Rob gave it an F. I'm going to say he gave it a 1. This is going to end up basically averaging out to a 3. That 2.5 is going to get bumped up to a 3. So we're going to put it here. The match isn't good by any means, but it is good enough to avoid being an F. In my opinion, you get the D+ range, ladies. I apologize. Next up, we have arguably one of the best matches on the card. I would argue that it is a shockingly top prospect if it wasn't for the fact that there are 4 bangers still to come. We have Shane McMahon versus Vince McMahon in a street fight that Shane would end up winning. This match is one of the best overbooked matches of all time. Shane and Vince start with your typical weaponry from a street fight that you would expect, especially from these two. Stephanie pulls Vince off the table. Shane crashes through it, and then absolute fucking chaos. Trish Stratus brings Linda McMahon down. Linda McMahon is supposed to be in like a comatose state. She's being drugged up because of all the trauma and all the stress that she's under. So she's supposed to be super drugged up here. Stephanie and Trish... Then Trish ends up turning on Vince McMahon. Stephanie and Trish fight down the Titantron. Vince McMahon goes to threaten Linda, which causes Mick Foley, who was the special guest referee of this match, to suddenly get involved and start attacking Vince McMahon. And then, on top of it all, Linda gets up. She was faking it the entire time. She was not in a comatose state. She gets up. She drills that man where he can no longer have children. And it is just absolutely chef's kiss from there. Foley gets involved. Foley gets his advantage. Mick Foley does. The coast to coast from Shane to the trash can that Vince was holding. Absolutely epic. I thought, again, every member of this match is a piece of shit outside the match, except maybe Shane and obviously Mick Foley. Obviously, Trish is not a problem, but everyone else here, probably a piece of shit outside this match. So again, I'm not glorifying them as people, but this match banged. This match was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I will say, the story coming into this match, the execution of the story, the overall story being an exciting payoff, were all excellent. The in-ring work, not so great, but this is a match that didn't need it. This is sports entertainment to a capital T. So I gave this match an 8 out of 10. As you can see, Rob agreed. Actually, a B plus is an 8. So this match, 8 out of 10. A third 8 out of 10 banger on this match. This bodes well. Next up, we have the WWF Tag Team Title TLC match between Christian and Edge, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys. Now listen, this match is an all-time classic, but this is also Rob or Tito's favorite match of all time. So, rather than me explain why this match is so great, why don't we go to him in today's match review? What's going on, everybody, and welcome to our match review of WrestleMania 17, the iconic TLC match from WrestleMania 17 featuring the Hardy Boys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. I am here, of course, with Rob.
What up?
This is, is this your favorite match of all time?
Yes.
This is your number one match?
This is my top WrestleMania match of all time. It's a little bit of bias, just a little bit, because I loved the Hardys, specifically Jeff, growing up.
Mm-hmm. So, I mentioned this, I believe, in this review, but this was the first WrestleMania that I can vividly remember watching. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember bits and pieces of 15 and 16, but I was really young. This is the one that sticks out of my mind. I know I watched this with my dad. I can remember this match particularly sticking out in my head because, as the photo here shows, I remember the iconic Edge spear off the ladder that this photo shows. Do you vividly remember this match, this WrestleMania, or was this one that you went back and watched later?
So, I probably watched this with my buddy Matt growing up. I remember seeing this on like Raw and SmackDown, like the little still shots that they do. Mm-hmm. But, so fun fact, the spear in WrestleMania that just happened here actually wasn't the first time they did this spot. They did it in the No Mercy match. Mm-hmm. I guess like the end of the year prior to WrestleMania.
TLC 1, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first... No, it wasn't TLC 1. It was Edge and Christian versus the Hardys.
Oh, okay.
And it was when they were fighting for like that bag of money.
Oh, right,
yeah. The services of Terry.
Don't remember that.
And, yeah, and they literally did this exact same spot, except it just wasn't as
iconic.
Big.
Well, it also wasn't at WrestleMania. Like, it was, like you said, it was like No Way Out or something like that. So
yeah, and but I do remember watching. I don't remember watching this match, but I do remember watching the Hogan versus Rock match because I remember getting to my buddy Matt's house late.
Pretty sure that was that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I just remember getting there late. Mm-hmm.
So I thoroughly enjoyed this match. We both agreed this match is a 10 out of 10 classic. To list every spot in this match would take us all day and all night. I actually love. It's one of the few matches where.
Oh, I'm sorry, not The Rock versus Hogan. Stone Cold versus The Rock.
I was about to say I could have swore that was 18.
Hogan's the next one.
Yeah, I could have swore that was 18. But this is one of the few matches where I thought the run-ins and the interferences were also perfect. Lita, Rhino, and Spike coming in turned this into a 9-man match, and it was perfection. Absolutely perfection. I thought Lita got her licks in. Of course, Lita was fine with taking bumps as well. Spike, I mean, how did Spike not die?
I mean, if you watch his early days in ECW, that man got abused.
Spike Dudley was Darby Allin before Darby Allin. He was the old days Darby Allin, basically. That man would do stunts that no one else would do, would take bumps, snap his like the man was Jello. The man was made of Jello. Every bone had to be like reverse jointed. Like it was insane how twisted that man could make his body and then just walk away from it afterwards.
So I have the Hardy Boys Leap of Faith DVD, and they go, behind the scenes / the Hardy Boys talk about this match. Edge and Christian, the Dudleys talk about this match. And, I mean, there's several parts where, like, this moment happened, and Edge blacked out when he hit. And I was like, how? And I remember, like, thinking as a kid, how did you black out and you're the one that performed the move as where Jeff Hardy just had to, like, free fall? You know what I mean? And then there's a part where Matt Hardy gets hit with the ladder and he flies over the top rope, and he actually lost part of his ear, and he talks about it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's nuts, dude. I watched the hell out of that DVD growing up, which is also part of the reason why I think this is like the greatest match of all time.
True. Well, Rhino putting Hardy through a table, goring him through there. Spike spinning DDT onto Christian through a table. I literally almost jumped out of my seat at that point. Like, I was like hype as shit. Yeah. It's like my 4th time watching this match, and that shit gets me hype every time. I love that fucking spot. It's just perfect. The fucking Jeff Hardy swanton onto Spike and Rhino from the 20-foot ladder. I'm talking the big one that he does the swanton on, where he misses Rhino and just basically lands completely on poor Spike.
He broke his tailbone.
He did. Interesting. Wow. Which would explain why he's not in the tag match in 18.
No, I think he had gotten the wellness violations at that point.
Oh, right.
So...
and then you have Rhino pushing Devon and Matt through 4 tables. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 tables, and obliterated them.
The sound that it makes is just... It sounds like Stone Cold's Glass, but like Wish version.
Oh my god. It obliterated. Like, the fucking tables turned to dust, dude. It's insane. And then, of course, the iconic Edge spear off the ladder on the Jeff Hardy. Spot to spot to spot, the actual seamless nature of this match's flow is perfect. I don't think any match... besides maybe the main event of 20 that I just actually recently watched, I would say flows as perfect from spot to spot as this one does. It's just flawless execution by 9 people that just knew exactly what they wanted to do when they went in. They planned everything out. Well, I mean, of course, they got fucked up in this match, as you could expect them to. But it was just... This was the iconic WrestleMania moment. And I really, really enjoyed this match in particular, on a card that was obviously phenomenal. Now, what do you think, when you look at this match, you would think like the tag team division would blow up, but as we've seen after this, over the next 4 or 5 years, the tag division dries up pretty hard. Was it just because no one could repeat what these 3 could do? Was it just...
Oh, yeah. I mean, they talk about it in their DVD of Leap of Faith, and it's either Twisted Fate or Twist of Fate. It's one that came out like a few years later, where, they were obviously the big 3 of the tag division, and other tag teams are like, well, we can't fucking replicate what they did. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously you have tag teams like Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. They were phenomenal. If you want to count, Chris and Eddie, or Eddie Guerrero, or Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, like they were already established. You know what I mean? They weren't like a true tag team, but they had their moments. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And of course, then Edge and Christian also went on their solo routes, and then...
Christian, very underrated.
He is. I agree.
I mean, don't get me wrong, as a kid, long hair Christian, where he would throw his like temper tantrums and all that, would irk me to my core. But like short hair Christian after this WrestleMania is so freaking underrated.
He is.
And he should have been utilized better.
I agree. He's probably the best thing AEW has going on right now. Or at least he was. He's kind of cooled off recently, but he was. Yeah, overall, I mean, this match was just a spot after spot. So I guess in conclusion here for this match review, what would you say is your number one spot in this match? What's your favorite spot in this match?
I mean, obviously the spear, but I would say from a sound like ASMR standpoint, the table.
Yeah, I was going to say the
spot.
table spots is probably my favorite. I mean, this is obviously the iconic shot, but the 4 tables, man, it's just... It sounded like a gun went off, and then they just obliterated the tables. Like, it was phenomenal. Absolutely a phenomenal match.
Yeah, this is an A match.
I almost don't want to say anymore because I want you all to watch it.
Yes. Yeah.
10 out of 10 match. No questions asked. No arguments there whatsoever. Go watch the match. And then back to me to finish this review. So yeah, as you can see, me and Rob are both in agreement here. This match is an absolute banger. A 10 out of 10 masterpiece. No questions asked. So yeah, we're putting it up there. 10 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal. This more than makes up for that 3 that we got on the card earlier. But unfortunately... Unfortunately, it's gonna have to make up for this. We have a gimmick battle royal. The only benefit to the entrances was it gave me time to reflect on the previous match, and kind of come down to earth from the previous match we experienced, and also write my extensive notes on that match, without a need to pause. Otherwise, this was nothing more than a show of how far we've come in the business for the better. All these cats are beyond their primes. None of them were performing at an elite level. They all look like shit. Absolute shit in the ring and outside the ring and during the course of the match and after the match. It was all bad. I will say I did enjoy having Bobby Heenan and Mean Gene Okerlund on commentary for it. I gave this match a 4 out of 10 for the experience, but it was never intended to be good. It just is a really big shame that it came on this card. But I did give it a 4. It had its moments. I enjoyed the spectacle. I enjoyed the story aspect. I enjoyed the here's where we were, here's where we've come type story it was telling. Obviously, did not resonate with Rob. He gave it a 1. So ironically, this is going to end up falling at the same spot that China and Victoria did. So, yeah, that's it. We're going to go and put it there as a 3. I gave it a 4. He gave it a 1. That's going to average out to a 5. It's going to add up to a 5, 2.5. It's going to go up to a 3. Next up, we have Undertaker versus Triple H. This was effectively a brawl. Outside of the ref literally fucking dying for 15 minutes off of a simple elbow from the badass Undertaker, which, by the way, I was always a huge fan of the Badass Undertaker. I understand he was a very polarizing figure, but I always loved Badass Undertaker personally. I thought it was a great gimmick. I thought him being more of a striker, more of a normal person was really nice. Obviously, prefer him as Deadman, but don't hate the Badass Taker like some people do. The fact that he would take shit in his own hands and kind of go out of his way to sort of like, hey, listen, you fucked me over, ref, I'm gonna take you out. Like, I kind of like that a little bit. So this is the situation here. He elbow drops the ref on his back, and the ref basically just dies for 15 minutes and allows these two to beat the all-holy shell out of each other throughout the entire arena. I will say that they probably should have just made this match a no DQ match, because that's basically what it ended up becoming, and you would avoid the extremely awkward and embarrassing ref bump where he's dead for 15 minutes effectively. I also believe that they could have done a better job of hiding the padding that Triple H fell on. There's a scene, there's a spot on there where Undertaker choke slams Triple H off of a scaffolding onto what looked like panels, but unfortunately it's padding. The tarp that is on it ends up coming up, and it shows like the white cushions and padding underneath it. So I thought they probably could have done a better job of maybe hiding that was there. maybe not putting the fucking camera on it and also showing the angle where he hits and nothing happens on the replay probably would have avoided that from being a very awkward spot, but it was, unfortunately, a very awkward spot there. The sledgehammer from the last ride was an insane spot. Great finish with the electric last ride. Match was engaging and interesting from start to finish. I gave this match a 9 out of 10. I really loved it, minus that one spot. It was a great spot of chokeslamming him off, but you didn't hide the padding. And I really do think that detracted from this, and so, yeah, I gave it a 9 out of 10 because of that. Rob gave it a B+, so Rob gave this an 8 out of 10. It's going to average up to that 9 because of that 0.5 differential. But hey, this is like the highest rated Undertaker match so far, so that's pretty goddamn good. He's finally putting on bangers. They don't last, but he's finally putting on a couple bangers. I will say, I do remember this match when I was watching with my dad. So WrestleMania 17 was like the first WrestleMania that I watched. I think I mentioned it during the match review, where I vividly remember the ladder match. I vividly remember spots from this Undertaker Triple H match as well. So fantastic match. Even when I was a kid, it still hangs on today. You have earned your 9 out of 10. And because this card would not be complete without another iconic fucking match, Stone Cold versus The Rock for the Undisputed Championship, an all-time classic, considered by most to be the best main event of all time. I do believe that the main event of WrestleMania 20 is better, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Obviously, we'll get to that much later. I also think the main event of WrestleMania 39 was better. We will obviously get to that much later. I'm talking about night 1 of WrestleMania 39, which is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. But this match, an all-time classic. Insane back and forth from that busted open everyone involved in the match. Smashed every and any table and monitor and bell and stair and turnbuckle that was on the ring and around it. Absolutely hit each other with everything. Vince came down because of course he fucking did. He had to make it about himself again. Joined with Austin to try to beat down The Rock. Rocky still wouldn't stay down. Both wrestlers had every finisher in the books on each other to no avail. Before Stone Cold just buried The Rock with chair shots. Just absolute pummeled the almighty shit out of him with chair shots to eventually get the win. The heel turn that stays cemented as an all-timer, Steve Austin joining Vince McMahon, it has always been a highlight. I loved the turn. I loved the match. This match was an absolute banger, a 10 out of 10 match. We have 2 on this card, which is insane. The story of this match was phenomenal. The in-ring action was phenomenal. The crowd reaction was phenomenal. The psychology was psychology. The psychology was phenomenal. Selling was phenomenal. Offense, everything. 10 out of 10 on this match. No notes. Perfection. And that is our card, guys. So bear with me one moment while I average up this amount here. And we have a straight 7. This is by far the best WrestleMania rating wise. Blew 13 out the water. I definitely see the hype behind this WrestleMania. Yeah, if I didn't know what was coming, I would argue this might be the top of the line for us. I don't know if we'll get any higher than this, but I actually know what's coming in the next 3, so I actually think one of the next 3 might actually be rated higher than this, but we'll have to see when we get there. Until then, guys, this has been WrestleMania 17 or X7 and my 39 Manias in 39 days. My name is Nomad, and I will see you all tomorrow for WrestleMania 18. Y'all have a good night.